conference will now be recorded.
From Miami, Florida, we'd like to welcome you to StartUpMasters. Hello, I'm your host, Nick Palavita, and along with the co-host, Kim Calhoun. We have a very special guest today. Yes, a very special guest today. Alex from Miami, right? And you do virtual reality. But tell the audience who you are and what do you do?
Hi, yeah, my name is Alex Coulombe. I'm the creative director of AGileLens. We're actually based in New York City. We were down in Miami just for the expo, but yeah, we're out of New York City. We do architectural immersive experiences, so VR and AR, and that's across the whole AECO spectrum. So architects, engineers, consultants, operations.
Okay, well, the thing is you're gonna have to slow down for some of us people. Let's first of all explain to the audience what is VR. Let's get basic here.
Sure, yeah. So I'll contrast the two. So virtual reality is when you put on a headset and now the entire real world is blocked out and you're in an entirely different virtual world that still allows you to move around and feel like you are occupying that virtual space, while augmented reality is when you still see the real world, but you are now putting digital content on top of it. So I could hold out my hand and there could be a little tiny model of a house here and we could be looking at that together right now.
Wow, and so
it's kind of like the holograms, that we were
I like the
hologram.
Yes.
Yeah, so virtual reality is contained within a place that takes you somewhere else, whereas augmented reality is right there in front of your very eyes.
Okay, so there's cool. Okay, so do you do virtual reality or augmented reality? Tell us what you do.
We do both. So what we specialize in is using, you could just say, emerging technology, which right now happens to be a lot of virtual reality and augmented reality, to solve design problems. So I come from a background in architecture and I worked for a number of firms where I saw that there were opportunities to improve the workflows we had in our design process, all the way from, when we're submitting to competitions where we're sketching things out, all the way through the final delivery of our designs. And when virtual reality came out in particular, that was when I first started to see opportunities for reviewing design, actively designing from within VR. And that can be something like, moving walls from within a virtual reality experience and having that be reflected in the final construction documents. And then augmented reality as well for something like going to the actual project site and seeing that actual context, but putting digital information on top of it to just better understand the status of the design, or in that case, the construction.
Okay, so you were down
Alex, can you go ahead?
Oh, well, you were down in Miami, but you're from New York, and we broadcast all over the world. Do you work just in New York or Miami, or where do you work?
We're all over the world. Yeah, we've had projects across the board, and we've only been around for a few years. AGileLens was, I guess you could say, incubated in Fisher Dax Associates, which is a world-renowned theater design company, and that's where I came from. I started doing virtual reality for them, and then we decided that this should really be a separate venture, and that's how we branched out. And like Fisher Dax Associates, we service clients all over the place. It's mostly architects and engineers, and then also, yeah, we're working with a number of construction companies, as well as companies involved with the operations of a building after it's constructed, as well as, I should mention, real estate. There's a lot of sales opportunity for creating, just sharing my screen there, a lot of opportunity for real estate and selling properties that are not yet built.
Yeah, we just sent the share your screen so you can show us exactly what you do. Is this your website, AGileLens?
Yeah, so this is the current website. And one thing that's tricky about our company is, one thing we pride ourselves in is always being on the cutting edge and always trying out the newest technology and looking for pragmatic solutions that can come out of it. So unfortunately, that means our website is always very out of date. But this is a good primer for what we get up to: custom virtual reality for the built environment. So by built environment, we're trying to encompass all those different branches of what happens. And what you might be seeing a little bit in the little video up in the header is a lot of different stages of design. There's some elements that are a little more photorealistic, some elements that are more diagrammatic. And so we're always trying to create these custom experiences that are very tailored for the particular stage that design is in. And it can be on a very high-end headset. It can be something that runs on a phone. We're always looking for the best tool for that particular moment in the design.
Okay, I have a question, because you flashed by on your website a theater. Are you telling me that you're doing virtual reality theater so I don't have to go to Hamilton anymore? I just put on the VC set and watch it. Is that what you're telling me? Can you do
Not
that?
quite that. Yeah, that's an area we are exploring. There are some issues there with rights and equity and streaming versus recording, but
Totally familiar with that one. Go on. Yes. Right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what we get up to in the theater space is a few different things. One is the actual architectural design of theaters and making sure that you can test sight lines and make sure that the final result of the theater, when it's actually built, is everything everyone hoped it would be. We deal with production design, so shows that are actually going to go up. We use virtual reality to do things like sketch out set designs and test light cues and block out the actors. First time we did that was way back in 2014 for Kenneth Branagh's production of Macbeth, which was at the Park Avenue Armory, which is a giant New York City block. And that was great because that was a production that was transferring over from Manchester, England, and there were a lot of complexities in figuring out how that production could adapt to this new space. So virtual reality, even way back, 5 years ago, was a really excellent tool for figuring out what was going to work and what didn't. Probably my favorite thing to do in virtual reality is really simple, just toggling different design options on and off. So you see option A, option B, option C, and you go, oh my goodness, option C, by far, that's the best one. And it becomes obvious in a way in virtual reality that it never is if you're just looking at plans or sections or other drawings, or even a rendering for that matter, because it's still 2D.
Right, right. So is there any go on, Kim.
Well, so when you're doing this, are there any other sensors that you're applying to this that maybe other people are wearing somewhere so that you can see what's going on or add it to the software that you're developing for the wearer? Can you put sensors in there so that they can actually engage?
When you say engage, do you mean like interacting with the experience?
Yes.
Right. So a lot of the off-the-shelf VR hardware nowadays is very interactive, even out of the box. I mean, we are coding custom applications using Unity 3D and Unreal Engine, but we don't need to give people anything too custom to have a really engaging and interactive experience. So, for example, Oculus Quest is a $400 device that just came out about a month ago, and that has a headset which can be tracked in full movement and rotation, so you can move around a large space or say an open field. And then you have hand controllers, which actually they're right here.
I guess
I can show what they look like with my camera.
With those. Those are fun, Alex. Those are really fun.
Yeah. Can you guys still see my camera?
Oh yeah, we can. We can see you.
Right. So yeah, so these are the controllers that come with it. And so from here, I try to keep things simple because a lot of people might look at a joystick or video gaming things and be like, oh, that's not me. But even just with the act of triggers, like I'm grabbing something, I'm letting go, there's a lot of amazing things that can happen there. Like I mentioned earlier, this idea of being able to push and pull different elements of a design until, especially if you're an architect, you have a certain design intuition about what's going to work, and then to be able to bring that back and have it be reflected in the final construction documents and design is very exciting.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
is this a B2B or B2C or B2G? Okay. What is your client base?
Yeah, it's mostly
client
B2B.
Base,
and we also, it's funny, we've been doing a lot of app prototyping right now, which is a little bit more B2C, where we've had various companies bring us on and they say, hey, we know you work with architects and you usually have a very rapid turnaround time. We just have some apps ideas and we're curious if they are sellable, and we just want to know if you can put this together really quick. So there was a large company that contracted us to put together an app that would help you look at different seats inside a live performance event and see what that would be like for like an actual live event. And we do that kind of stuff more and more now. So yeah, a little B2B, a little B2C.
All right. Well, we only have a couple minutes left. So Alex, is there anything else you want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say something that's very new for us that we're really excited about is we've been doing more and more with live performance inside virtual reality, going back to the theater thing. And so we're about to head up to Yale for the IEEE GEM conference and give a live performance where our actors will be wearing VR headsets and using, controllers, and they'll have trackers on their feet for the performance. And from within virtual reality, they can scale up, scale down, fly around, do these kinds of things that in the real world would be much more expensive. And that's exciting because we can present to an audience that's all over the world, anyone who can put on a VR headset. We've also been playing more with standalone experiences. So this is called That Kind of Guy, which was what we were presenting down at the Miami VR Expo. And this is using Magic Leap. And just to hover over this for a second. So this is like a little tabletop theater experience where the actor gives their whole presentation right there in front of you, and you can interact with it with your hands. So you can reach out and open and close the doors for him. You respond to certain prompts he gives you for certain hand gestures. And just because I've always been interested in theater, both the architecture of it and what happens inside theaters, this is kind of an exciting new opportunity for that space.
Well, I mean, this is a very exciting, and we want to keep up to date with you. We're going to have to get going now, but we do thank you for coming to the Startup Masters, and thank you for presenting virtual reality. We're going to have you back because I'd like to see the new developments that take place in this very exciting space. Yes,
Alex, how do the customers buy from you?
Yes.
How do the customers buy something? Well, they should reach us on our contact page at AGileLens.com or just email me at alex@AGileLens.com. And what they're ultimately going to be buying is a custom virtual reality experience. They will come to us and say, hey, we're presenting to this audience on this date, and here's the goals of what we'd like to accomplish. And we'll come back and say, okay, we're going to build an experience with these devices. Here's what the investment looks like for you, and here's what your ROI is going to be once you have that virtual experience.
I think it's
we
amazing.
need to buy virtual reality for the TV show.
I totally agree. And the thing is, virtual reality. We have to have we're going to have a virtual reality channel, but right now we're going to have to go. So we do thank you, Alex, for showing up in AGileLens, and hopefully we'll be seeing you back in the future. And thank you for watching IBM TV.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Kimberly.
Bye-bye.